Greeting. Hi. Hi. This is the Michael Dennis Show. I'm Michael Dennis. I'm host of the sporadically created Michael Dennis Show. This is my first episode in a few weeks. I know it's been my goal to regularly create some content and comment on the activities of being a parent and being a Cincinnati sports fan. But man, the last 2 weeks for me have totally sucked. I had a 2 inch. I had a leak in my basement that resulted in 2 inches of standing water, which required me to spend like an entire evening sopping up and getting the flood out of my basement. And then I had to have a whole bunch of contractors and people come into the house and give me estimates and measurements. Each of those estimates getting increasingly higher and more expensive as the visitors came and went. And then after that, excuse me, and then after I got all of that done, after not wanting to do anything creative while that was going on, I hit a huge wall as a parent last week, and just if you're a parent, you understand. There's just nothing left in you by the end of every day to do anything creative. But I've made it through the woods, and now let's talk about something more interesting. Oh, I made it through the woods because my wife and kids are out of town for 2 days, so I have a few only child days to myself to kind of putz around. So woke up this morning feeling fine. Got the Reds losing streak on my mind. Yeah, the Reds stink again. Can you be surprised about any of that? The trade deadline has come and passed, and once again, the trade deadline for the Cincinnati Reds was a complete wet fart. Having been a fan of this team my entire life, I struggle to remember a single trade deadline that wasn't just a wet fart. We've had plenty of trade deadlines where we trade off players. Now, whether it was last year or you want to go all the way back to Aaron Boone and Scott Williamson and that sell off in 2003, there have been plenty of trade deadlines where the Reds trade a bunch of their good players. But it seems like for months and months on end, all we hear about is speculation about what moves the Reds going to make to improve their team at the trade deadline, and they literally just never do anything. It's just always nothing. It's a reliever here, it's a long reliever there, it's a bench guy here. They never do anything whatsoever. So I don't know why we're surprised to see this. I don't know what part of the Reds fan base is shocked to see that they absolutely did nothing. I'm also not surprised to see the entire fan base once again rationalizing the lack of dedication, the lack of commitment, the lack of balls for this franchise to be willing to do anything. I want to touch on a couple of things, and I want to pull up a couple pages and a couple of topics some other people made and piggyback on those a little bit. But right now, I'm looking at the cover of the Atlantic.com, and this pretty much says it all, doesn't it? Reds do nothing at the deadline, which is better than what they did on the field. So it's never a good day when you get stomped by the Cubs in two different arenas. You got stomped on the field and you got stomped making moves. Why the Cubs went all in and the Reds did not? Well, we just got to be patient, guys. Just got to be patient. This Reds team has a whole lot of up and coming young guys, and you never know if you trade one of them to try and win this year, that guy might be good later, and we just can't afford to make those kind of decisions here in Cincinnati. The Cincinnati Reds always make their decisions from a place of fear, from a very insecure place, because they should be. They act a lot like the Jets or the Mets, except instead of the Yankees or the Giants, whose shadow we loom in the St. Louis Cardinals and the I guess the Cubs now. No, it's not the Cubs. We loom in the Cardinals shadow. But here we are, the Atlantic. The Reds do nothing at the deadline. Sam Mole. Sam Mole was the only the move that they made this entire trade deadline. Reds' hopes fall on pitching as trade deadline looms. Well, the hopes did nothing. Hope is nowhere here. Going over to Major League Baseball TradeRumors.com. I haven't listened to this whole podcast, but here's the only Reds bit right here. The Reds were surprisingly quiet at the 29:35 mark. Why are you surprised? Why? What's the point? The Cubs decide to go for it. The Cubs and the Reds do nothing. I'm not surprised to see that at all. MLB Insider reveals why Reds missed out on starting pitching at the deadline. So what does it say here? They had no realistic chance of landing any of the biggest names. Um, so Scherzer and Verlander and Eduardo Rodriguez, none of them were going to come here. Once again, this mindset in Cincinnati of, this we're a small market club. We just can't afford to compete. we there's no way we could get a big name pitcher to come to town, guys. We just gotta invest a little bit more in our farm system and be patient. Okay. Over here, RedReporter.com, MLB reacts. Did the Reds do enough at the trade deadline? I have not voted in this. Let's see. Let's scroll on down. Did the Reds do enough? Let's just vote no. Wait, where are the results? Where are the results? Is it closed? This was posted. Yeah, this was posted at 1:30 on August 4th. It's 10 a.m. on the 5th. Where's the results? Come on, Red Reporter. Going back a few months, I feel like all I've heard nothing about, except is moving Jonathan India, and Jonathan India is on the trading block, and you know what? I remember who was it the other day was talking about. They were like, I would only trade Jonathan India for a really good pitcher with a bunch of years of control. We didn't do anything. Well, now we're a team with 5 infielders, all 4 of whom are prospects or recent arrivals to Major League Baseball. They're all really good. You have 4 more of them in the minors waiting to come up, and you dealt from it. You did not deal from a place of strength. You did nothing from a place of strength, and now you just have more of it. It'd be like if I had 7 copies of Zelda Ocarina of Time, but I was in the market for 1 copy of Earthbound. Maybe I should take 2 or 3 of those copies of Zelda and go sell it and go buy a copy of Earthbound. What are these 7 different copies of Zelda doing for me? Absolutely nothing. I want to hop over to a gentleman on Twitter who had a post, JWAG85, and this really sums it up well. And I'm 38 years old. I completely fall in line with this. Just be patient. I'm 38 years old. The Reds won a World Series when I was 5. I don't remember that. I do remember that. The only memory I have of that is my mom made me go to bed before Game 4 ended in the 90 World Series. So I didn't even get to see the winning celebration. I woke up the next morning having to go to kindergarten and ask my mom, did the Reds win last night? And she told me yes. She also told me that I would be old enough the next time they go to the World Series for me to stay up and watch all of it. Well, that's been 33 years ago. They won a playoff series when I was 10. I barely remember that. Agreed. I went to a game against the Braves, and I went to one of those games in 95. But I've been patient my entire life, and I'm tired of being patient. I want there to be an urgency to win. The Cincinnati Reds team this year had all the momentum in the entire world. It had a young, up-and-coming team with oodles of talent. You have a bunch of players you could deal from a point of strength to acquire more pitching talent so that we're not sitting here with our knees in our chest rocking back and forth in the corner saying Hunter Green and Nick Lodolo, Hunter Green and Nick Lodolo, who, by the way, have never proven that they can pitch consistently on a regular basis in Major League Baseball. JWAG85 is 100% correct. I'm tired of being patient. This is another symptom of this team kicking the can down the road of we'll be great in 2028. That's going to be the slogan next year. You know, we'll win plenty in 2020. That's what I heard for like 5 years. And now we're going to be hearing about how we'll be great in 2028. It's always in the future. For the Cincinnati Reds, victory and success always takes place somewhere in the future, in a very nebulous point in time when they have either acquired more veteran talent or acquired more prospects. We don't know, because they don't know either. But it will happen in the future. We just have to keep all the prospects we have now. If there was going to be one word that described the Cincinnati Reds in the 20th century, would it be prospects? That's all I ever hear about is prospects. Go back to the 2023 sell-off. That's all I heard about were prospects. Brendan Clausen, he's coming in. He's going to be the big ace we got out of that New York deal. Nothing ever happens. Did we get one legit? We got like 1 or 2 legit players from the fire sale last year, right? Were those the only 2 legit players we've gotten from the last 2 fire sales? Who did we get for Aroldis Chapman? Who did we get for Johnny Cueto? Who do we get for anybody? Hopping over here to Lance McAllister, he said, "My dad 2 weeks ago. I'd rather lose the NL Central by a game than deal a prospect like Marte or CSS. There's a much bigger picture here. This is a loser mindset. You haven't won anything in 3 decades. There's a much bigger picture here. Yeah, here's a big picture. Win now. Go do something now. They didn't do anything. They didn't bring anybody, and they've got their doors blown off 4 games in a row. They look lifeless and pathetic. The exact opposite of what they were a month ago or even 3 weeks ago. Because you didn't bring any reinforcements. The cavalry never showed up, and they ran out of gas, and they ran out of talent, and they ran out of time waiting for their starting pitchers to come back. The big picture. It's been 35 years since you've won anything. This franchise has lost 2 entire generations. What's the bigger picture? Go win something right now. I saw this tweet from Ian Rappaport about the Bengals last night, shoring up now Logan Wilson. And I feel like everyone's just like, yeah, okay, that's cool. Who cares? Where's the Burrow contract? Where's the Burrow contract? Everybody's just sitting around. Everybody said that they had to get the Joe Mixon deal done, and then all the pieces could fall into place for Joey. Uh, why aren't they doing Joey first and then getting everybody else their money? You should really just be getting Joey his money. As a person who roots for content and a person who roots for craziness, I want this to continue on forever. I hope Burrow never gets an extension. And this is just a looming shadow over this franchise because it would also speak, very well to this franchise and who they are too. Once again, nickel and diming. Once again, maybe not having their eye on the ball. Once again, Bengals. What's the bigger picture? Is it Logan Wilson or should it be Joe Burrow? You've had a bunch of really good linebackers in the last 20 years. You've never won jack. Joey's all you have. Speaking of which, I was surprised to see this stat um, of the top selling jerseys in the NFL. Number 3 is Joey. Wow. I didn't realize we moved that much merch. But also Chase at 19 and Higgins at 41. T Higgins is number 41 in jersey sales. I'm kind of shocked to see that. I wonder who the next Bengal number 5 is going to be next year when all the Bengals fans have to go and get that new nameplate to cover up Higgins. I hope whichever wide receiver the Bengals draft in the first round of the 2024 draft, I hope that guy takes number 5, just so that it's really simple for everybody in this town to make a change on that Higgins jersey and also get a few more years worth of wear out of it. That would be great. I have a lot of thoughts on the Bengals stadium. I'm gonna do a post and a video about that probably tomorrow. But like I said, hey, this is my first episode in a while. Let's get back in the rhythm and the routine of things. My name is Michael Dennis. This is the Michael Dennis Show. Instead of getting a mistress or a Corvette for my midlife crisis, I'm gonna just try and crank out some content and make a YouTube channel. We'll see which one costs me more in the long run. Once again, my name is Michael Dennis. This is the Michael Dennis Show because it couldn't be titled anything else.